This is the first episode of Remembering Christmas, the joy of serving.
Merry Christmas and welcome to Remembering Christmas, a special Christmas podcast series offered by McGregor Baptist Church. I'm Mark Bricker, one of your co-hosts, and joining me is the other co-host, Danielle Flood.
Hey there, Mark. Glad
Hey.
to be here.
Yeah, this seems a little familiar, right?
Right. Yeah. Last year was not that long away, but it has been.
We sat down and we remembered Christmas last year, and we're keeping that same brand, but we're looking at a few different things that we want to focus in on this year as we remember Christmas together. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun as we do this, and we're not going to do it alone either. That's another really cool little aspect. We've invited some special people, some special guests to be with us, and on this very first episode, we've invited Tamar Miller to come and to sit down and to hear a little bit from her, and also to remember Christmas together. So she should be here any minute, just waiting for the knock on the door, and we'll let her in. Oh, that sounds like there. All right. Hey, Tamar.
Hey.
Come on in, have a seat. We're not getting up for you. We're
Excited to see you there.
yes.
Oh,
we are.
well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Have you ever been a guest on a special podcast before?
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Yeah.
At least once a year, maybe.
At least once a year.
But not all three of us together.
No, this
No,
is the
I think
first.
this is
New.
Yes.
very first time. Well, Tamar does have podcast experience, as you know, but our listeners might not know that she co-hosts the Around McGregor podcast every week.
That's right. There's a
with
face
me.
name now with the voice.
That's right, because we don't do any
No.
video on that.
There's
That's
no
all just audio. But
I had to fix
you.
my hair this time.
it's a lot easier when it's just audio, isn't it?
Yes, we just make sure our voice is okay.
Yes,
I'll be on that.
but we've been doing that now for a year.
Yes.
A whole year we've been
Whole
doing
year.
the Around McGregor podcast. Don't know
Have
how
we
many,
gained any listeners?
Don't know how many people listen, but we have a lot of fun. And
We do.
And
We
Tamar's
do.
laughter brings a lot of joy to that podcast. So if you aren't a listener to the Around McGregor, it's a great way to get insight into what's happening around McGregor each and every week.
right.
But that's not why we asked
No.
you here to talk about. And we did, though, before we kind of dive into our special topic for tonight, we wanted to do a brief little ministry highlight. And I think both of you are very familiar with this event because it's been happening here at McGregor for a long time, and it kind of makes it really feel like Christmas is getting closer when this event happens. And I'm talking about the McGregor Family Christmas. And that's happening on Wednesday, December the 13th. And what do you think of when I mentioned the family Christmas night, that Wednesday night?
I always think about eating ice cream.
Good one.
It makes me smile because it's something my kids always look forward to. I mean, they're older now, but Carson will still look forward to it just because of all the hustle bustle and the decorations.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Danielle? What do you think of when you think of the family Christmas night?
It's a joy to celebrate with our church family and to see all the kids together. Our kids usually have a part in a program. So, the preparation for that and fixing our mind on the season is special. And then getting to see them put their efforts to work to lead our family in worship is fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That Wednesday night, it begins at 6:30. It's in the fellowship hall. This year, a little bit different. They have, for the last several years, had the preschool choir in a different location that started a little earlier. But this year, they're incorporating the preschool into the fellowship hall. So everything happens
Very
at
fun.
6:30. And it, like you said, with the kids up there singing, it's always a special time. But it's not over when they finish singing because there's activities for the kiddos. But there's also things for the adults to do as far as walking around and touring the campus. And do you look forward to that tomorrow?
I do remember now that you said that is last year, I think the last 2 years I've helped in Pastor David's office to greet people because you can go through the different offices that are because either he was having shoulder surgery last year or he was ill the year before. So I'm ready for him to come back.
You've been the representative the last 2 years.
The disappointment I see on people's face, like, who are you? Well, I'm Pastor David's wife, and here we have some free books.
So you were giving away books.
Consolation
Yes,
Yeah.
but Carson would come in and hang out with us. So we kind of go around. We love the program, the little Christmas program, and
And it is great to see the different ministers' offices.
That's right.
And the decorations around the church and kind of put faces to names in a casual setting. And my kids love to do that. They have people they want to go see.
And that's a great thought there, because a lot of times you see the different, ministers on Sunday or preaching or teaching, but when you get a chance to kind of walk in their office and hang out, and here you get a chance to go in pretty much everybody's office,
right?
And hang out. So it is fun. I love that night. I love hanging out in there and seeing people come through and taking pictures. And we get our offices decorated really cool
And you usually get a really unique tree.
I do, don't I? Yeah.
That's a teaser. You have to come to.
Who knows what it'll look like this year? All right, Tamar, since you are our guest,
yes,
we wanted to play a little game.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's not how you described it to me.
I know. But just think of it as like Around McGregor. You just never know what's going to happen.
I should.
So this is a simple little game of I'm going to do the Christmas Would You Rather.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of thinking. It's just kind of what pops in your
follow-up questions.
What pops in your mind right off the bat. All right. So we'll go through these. I have 10.
Okay.
And you have a chance to tell me which you would rather. All right. Would you rather receive a gift card or an actual gift?
Gift card.
Would you rather drink hot cocoa or hot apple cider?
Cocoa.
Would you rather spend Christmas in the mountains or at the beach?
The beach.
Would you rather spend, man, you are decisive. Would you rather spend Christmas with all your extended family or just immediate family?
Immediate.
Hopefully they're not watching. Would you rather watch a Christmas movie or football?
Totally Christmas movie.
Would you rather shop online or in a store?
I do like shopping in a store.
Would you prefer an artificial tree or a real tree?
Artificial.
No shame in that. Yeah. Would you rather open gifts on Christmas Eve or on Christmas Day?
Christmas Day.
All right. Would you rather get lots of little gifts or one really nice present?
I think one nice present.
All right.
Yeah.
Would you rather eat turkey or ham?
As long as I don't have to cook either one.
Oh, there you go. I like it.
I'll eat either one.
No preference there. All right. Tell us maybe one or two things that people don't know about Tamar Miller, because I have a feeling there's people watching that maybe they've seen you, maybe they've met you, but they don't really know you. Give us a couple things that our listeners might not know about you.
Probably with my accent, a lot of people think I was born and raised in Texas, but I wasn't. It was my husband. So I really was born in Northern California, raised in Arizona as my hometown. Nobody knew about Glendale till a football stadium was there, but that's where I grew up and went to school. And I really didn't move to Texas and met David until I was out of college and then kind of started life together. So, but I grew up in a family of 4. I'm a twin sister, the youngest by 15 minutes.
A twin.
Yes, my oldest sister lives in Texas near my mom. So have 2 boys. One's in college, one's in high school, and been married 26 years to my husband. So
you have a twin sister. Was there much competition between the two of you?
I think there was, even if it wasn't directly stated. We were always known as the twins, so everybody kind of lumped us together, even though we're extremely different. We look very different, have different interests. But so that was difficult. Unfortunately, I excelled in things that she didn't, and vice versa. So then there was always a comparison, whether you wanted to or not. I think that can happen even with kids that are a couple years difference.
Right.
Hey, why aren't you like your older brother? Or hey, your younger brother does this or that. So we didn't try to be competitive.
Okay. Yeah.
We just had too many different interests.
So would you say you're more like, thinking of sisters in the Bible, Mary and Martha, were you more a Mary or are you more a Martha?
I'm definitely Martha with Mary tendencies. So I think you can just interact with me. My coworkers would be able to answer that immediately.
Well,
I'm driven with tasks.
Yeah.
And honestly, your wife, dear Macy, one time, quite a few years ago, in her very sweet but loving way, said, "You know what? More people want to get to know you, but you always look busy." And so if you could just kind of scale back a little bit and try to not constantly, like I was so focused on all the tasks, especially when you're part of in leadership or whatever, that I would totally miss out on the relationship, thinking that they're counting on me to get stuff done. So the Lord has really slowed me down a little bit on that, and that's just as much a part of ministry and learning to even sit at Jesus' feet is learning to sit with other people. And take the time to do that, that it's beyond, to be more so.
Well, service is not bad. I mean, Martha,
not at all.
In fact, Danielle, why don't you kind of give us our theme for this particular episode of Remembering Christmas?
Yeah, so we were talking about, like, what does the season of Christmas mean? Of course, we know it's all about Jesus, but as a church family, what does it mean to serve one another? What does it mean to love one another and to be a part of the church family? And, coming out of hard years and things that we've gone through together, I think that service was the key to this first episode. So we want to talk about serving others and what can we do this Christmas to be, part of a church family.
Yeah, the Bible tells us that one of the reasons Jesus came into this world was to serve and not to be served. And so to be reminded that this really is a time to focus in on serving and as you have mentioned, being served as well. It's not just what are we doing to serve others, but sometimes allowing others to serve us. Why is that even a difficult thing sometimes?
Well, I think it comes down to our pride, our independence, our wanting to do things on our own. It's really hard to accept a gift from someone or someone's time. And I even think about that comment you mentioned from Macy, what a gift to have someone love you and see something that you may not see and tell you, please, if you see this, I want to be there. I want people who are around me to tell me those kinds of things, to be slow down, or, this, you're not seeing how, you hurt that person, or we need to be the church family. We need not to be people we bump into in the hallway in a church building.
Right.
And so being served is part of that, because if you can't be served, then you're taking that joy away from others. And it's hard,
Can you think, Tamar, of some examples of in your own family where service was a big part around the holidays? Maybe there's a tradition wrapped around serving. Is there anything that stands out?
Sure. It's interesting. We've lived in Florida for 22 years almost. And so we didn't even have children when we first moved here. So this was our family. Nobody moved with us, so to create unique ways of having the kids know that this is a part of our family, the church family. And I think, I'll be honest, Operation Christmas Child is a great way that has helped our family to think about serving at Christmas time, whether it be to shop for the, little toys and things for a box, to understand how excited another family can get another child in just a small little box. I always try to think that that's a great idea. I'm just going to put everything in a shoebox, and then here you go. But also, I think even years ago, we did something like an angel, Christmas tree angel, where you would shop for students who had an incarcerated parent. But anything that can be beyond of what can giving. I will tell you, if I can, last Christmas actually has stuck out to me when you asked me to start thinking about that. My husband's dad passed away last February, but Christmas Day, if you remember, in 2022 was on a Sunday, and we all came together, and it was actually, we didn't realize at the time, but it was David's dad's last day to ever step foot in our church. And I remember it wasn't easy. It was a very cold day. He was already an amputee, and we had to have both boys, because David had just had shoulder surgery, serve their papa to be able to actually lift him out of the car, getting into a wheelchair, being able to sit in the pew, all to give him an experience like everyone else, to worship the Lord, to speak of his the story of Christmas, and then going to our house would be the last meal away from his little place, and having the boys again lift up their papa. It was just, it was such a moment of, I didn't have to say, hey guys, we're going to serve your papa. It was, no, this is what we're going to do to make things better for him, because it's so hard to get around, but it was still a memory that we will always remember, because we did the hard work so that he could experience something that would be extremely memorable. So I think when I saw my boys in that, I didn't see complaining. I didn't hear them. It wasn't something that we had been modeling that, caring for David's dad, but that's a lot of times about serving is you're modeling it. You're getting your hands dirty together. You're going in and serving. So it's not like, hey, this is how we serve. No, let's just start practicing. Let's just start doing it. And this is how it makes a difference. And we all remember that. And we made it well for one man.
Wow, that's a beautiful, beautiful example. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Gave me goosebumps.
I'm sorry.
imagining that.
Yeah.
And I know for myself, and you guys, you might not ever struggle with this, but I think the reason we don't serve more, even during the holidays when you think this would be a time where we would focus, is because our own selfish tendencies. We have these preferences coming into the holidays, what we want and how we want it, and things we're excited about, and some are somewhat innocent and innocuous, but they can get in the way of looking around and seeing the needs. What are things, Danielle, that you do to kind of not only help yourself to be aware of opportunities to serve, but also modeling for your kiddos as well?
We think about people who have served in the past. I know one of our life group members was sharing a testimony that they were part of a bus ministry. So someone committed to picking up kids around a neighborhood and bringing them. Now, we don't do that anymore, but those relationships that we have, offering to bring someone to church who doesn't have a ride, or inviting someone to sit with us, like making that more fellowship-like, can make the difference whether someone wants to come and celebrate Christmas at a church or not. And then we talked last year about our cookie party, and I'm still struggling to meet neighbors, to build relationships with neighbors. But this year I was putting something in the van, and a gentleman was walking his dog, and I said, "Hey, hope you're having a great day." And he goes, "Actually, I'm not. My wife's in the hospital, and she's not doing well, and I'm gonna walk the dogs and then go see her." And I asked if I could pray with him, and he said no. He didn't really think that was beneficial. But weeks later, we found that he had a heart attack and is also in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
So trying to kind of build a relationship with his daughters and be neighborly to a time with struggling just is really on my heart this Christmas. How can we serve that family that's going through such a hard time, that doesn't want a church family or doesn't want a faith opportunity, but that doesn't mean we can't serve them. So kids in tow, we're trying to figure those out too, and it's a learning experience. So whether or not we're welcome, and we can try.
I love your emphasis on the neighbors, and I think for all of us, including anybody listening, the opportunities we have at Christmas time just the door seems to be a little more open, and especially if Macy has for years either made something or purchased something, and she has it all mapped out around a certain radius around our house with those neighbors. But as we record this, just a couple of days ago, I met for the first time brand new neighbors that just bought the house next door. And they haven't moved in yet. They're doing some work, but I did get to meet them. They were there looking at something, and I just thought after that brief little meeting in the driveway, okay, Lord, here's another opportunity, and service might be part of that open door, and ultimately sharing the gospel with neighbors. So, yeah, I would. We had talked to Danielle as we were planning this out that. We didn't want to just sit around and talk about ways we are serving others or how we have been served, but we wanted to really challenge our listeners to think about that, to be a little more intentional. You want to talk a little bit about what that challenge can look like?
Right. Christmas is a great time. And like you were saying, taking something to the neighbors, something festive, knocking on the door with something cute is easy and great way to start conversations or to invite someone for a meal. And our church works together. A couple weeks ago, we had Halloween and the opportunity to, spend time with our community. And that just reminds me how many people in our local community, maybe come to the church once a year, twice a year, see us here, but don't know anyone personally. So what is it that we can do to meet local people? And I'm convinced that some of it is prayer walking. Like as as a family, we could do more at, just walking around the streets of our neighborhood and praying for people we don't know yet, that maybe the Lord would touch them and, be in their home this Christmas.
It's interesting that you mentioned the prayer walking. Tamar and I were part of a mission trip a couple months ago out of the country, and one of the things we did the most was prayer walk. And at some point, it hit me, why don't I do this more in my own neighborhood?
Yeah.
And even mentioned that to the missionary that we were working with, and so, what a great challenge. And so we really do want to challenge our listeners to be intentional this season. It's still a few weeks, depending on when you're listening to this, before Christmas. And so there would be time to, whether you wanted to get a little gift together or do something. Do you do anything for your neighbors?
I might this year. I was trying to think I was trying to think through that, is because our little street does try to get people together to do the little votive candles or whatever in the sand with the bags and you all match up. But we are the only, really one of the few people on our street that has just a pretty elaborate nativity scene. I say elaborate meaning the pieces are big. Yeah,
I've seen that.
Even though it's very simple, low white light, but it always draws attention and people will comment on it, and it just opens up. It's amazing how even a little nativity set opens up conversation from neighbors that might, or hurricanes do the same thing, but that wouldn't normally talk about that, to just automatic, oh, well, do you know Jesus? Or, hey, do you have a church that you're part of? Or are you interested in this or that? So, because I think now that you say that, we had some brand new neighbors just a couple weeks ago. We've been, doing some things over the last few months, but that we need to get out, and we normally try to go meet them and welcome them.
Pastor Wade has a cool app that we're a part of as a church.
Oh, yeah,
and you
that's
can
right.
bless your neighbors by praying for them, and it sends you a little list of the addresses around your home.
And it has their names too. If they're,
So I wonder sometimes if it's
forgot about that.
like the owners or the renters. And so some I don't know, and I just pray for them generally. But some, my closer neighbors, I know them, I can see their faces. And occasionally I'll send them a little note like, hey, I prayed for you today. Just hope your family's doing well. And if you need anything, let us know. And
Danielle is such a better neighbor.
Yeah. The awesome neighbor. Yes.
The awesome neighbor.
Ooh, yeah.
But
my neighbors may be praying for me after how nutty I get sometimes.
No. But it's where God has put us. And so everyone has a neighborhood. I get just kind of convinced that this like driving to church, and I love our church family, but if only my neighbors could have the same,
Yeah. Well, here's the challenge for all of our listeners, to be intentional this Christmas season about serving others. Think about your neighbors. Think about people in your own life group.
Right.
Think about people here in the church that you're aware of. Maybe somebody that might be alone or maybe going through a difficult time. Think about your own family members. There might be somebody there that you really need to focus in on. But whoever it may be that the Lord lays on your heart, that you would be more intentional, more deliberate in serving others this Christmas. And I know Tamar's going to take the challenge. I like it.
I'm going to take the challenge.
I'm going to take the challenge too. Yep. All right. Well, I think that wraps up our very first episode of Remembering Christmas. Tamar, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. Yeah, I think you gave us a good start with episode 1 of Remembering Christmas. And we invite our listeners to join us back a week from now for part 2 with another special guest. Bye.
Bye.